When the Retroid Pocket Flip 2 came out, it was one of the best clamshell handhelds we'd seen in a while. It had that nostalgic flip feel, was very pocketable, and performed well enough to play almost anything up to PlayStation 2 comfortably. But now, with the AYN Thor, it feels like that same idea has evolved. It brings the one thing the Flip 2 was missing to deliver that DS experience, a second screen, and then brings some long overdue upgrades. The Flip 2 had a compact size, a somewhat working hinge, but it always felt like it was designed with performance and portability first in mind and build quality later. A foldable setup means it protects the screen and makes the device easier to carry around. It's still smaller than something like the Odin 2 Portal in grip and pocket ease. Now, the AYN Thor feels like the next step. Thicker, yes, but more refined. The quality is top tier for something in this price range. The glossy finish on the black version looks nice, but it is a fingerprint magnet. Also, when closed, there's a small gap between the screens, but overall it's beautifully built and feels premium. The Flip 2 was already ahead with its Hall effect analog sticks and triggers. That's also true for AYN Thor, but the build quality feels more premium here. That being said, we know the Flip 2 has reports of stick drift issue. With the Thor, the hardware looks better built on paper, but until more users log hundreds of hours, the drift question hasn't been fully answered. If you're worried about drift, Thor may be the safer bet, but no guarantees yet. And that's also true for any AYN device. Stick drift may occur in some AYN devices, though it's not guaranteed to affect all units or models. The D-pad of Flip 2 is clicky and accurate, great for retro titles. It's one of the better ones Retroid has ever made. It gives nice, distinct feedback on every tap, which makes platformers and fighting games feel natural. The only real downside was comfort. Those recessed sticks and compact spacing could feel a bit cramped after a while. AYN Thor's buttons feel firmer and more responsive, and the D-pad has a cleaner, more deliberate press. It's not mushy, and inputs register quickly. To be fair, though, the downside of being uncomfortable for long use remains. Because of that second screen, the Thor's controls sit a bit farther apart than Flip 2's. It does take a little time to get used to. Without a grip or support, it might strain your wrists during long sessions, especially in D-pad-heavy games. But other than these, I don't feel there's anything to gripe about. So, if you like the Flip 2's controls, the Thor feels like a proper upgrade, with better materials, smoother actuation, and a D-pad that feels just a bit more precise. The hinge on the Flip 2 was still plasticky and pretty basic. It did the job, but it never felt all that confidence-inspiring. You could tell it wasn't built for years of constant opening and closing. Over time, small cracks started to show up around the hinge area on some units, and that turned into a bit of a reputation issue for the Flip 2. Retroid later improved the design and offered replacements, but it was clear that the hinge was the weakest part of an otherwise fun handheld. Thor's hinge shows clear signs of improvement. Easy one-finger opening with reassuring snap, and solid resistance when open. It supports 3 angles: a near-closed mode, a mid-tilt for casual lap play or desk use, and a wider opening angle making it friendlier for table or 2-screen setups. That said, longevity is still a big question. Some reports suggest that the internal structure of Thor's hinge is very similar to the Flip 2's, which means the durability question is still open. So only long-term use will prove whether it avoids the flaws that plagued the Flip 2. The Snapdragon 865 in Flip 2 still holds up well. It flies through anything up to GameCube and most PS2 titles. Some lighter Wii, 3DS, and Switch games are fine too if you tweak settings. The AYN Thor is using the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which is way newer and a lot more efficient. It has better cooling, faster memory, and it's tuned for heavy multitasking with those dual screens. So expect a big leap in performance. Everything up to PlayStation 2, GameCube, and even some Switch titles run smoother and holds more stable frame rates than on the Flip 2. One thing to keep an eye on is input lag, especially when using both screens at once. Because it's handling 2 displays, there's a bit more processing overhead. According to some users, the lag is noticeably higher in dual-screen mode compared to single-screen handhelds, and it can go as high as 100 milliseconds for heavy emulations. Other than these, the AYN Thor is a wonderful device, and it feels like an upgrade over the Flip 2 in every way I can imagine. If you already have a Flip 2 and you are happy with it, you clap it open and play it until the hinge gives up. But if yours has already cracked, or you don't own one yet, the Thor is absolutely the one to go for, especially if you've been craving that DS-style experience. And if you're looking for something bigger, more premium, and more powerful, then maybe check out the AYN Pocket DS. Hope you liked this video, and I'll see you in the next one.